Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fatima and I'm going to be talking about my favorite reads of this year. So I have quite a stack I want to get through. This is not in any particular order. This is just kind of the ones I really enjoyed reading this year. That does not mean it came out in the year of 2021, but these are the ones I read during this year. So the first one on my list here is A Man Called Ove, and I love this book. It made me cry so much. At one point in the book, I started crying and I just didn't stop. And not because it was like necessarily sad or anything, but I just had a lot of emotions reading the book. This is very character driven and it's about a grumpy old man. I'm not gonna get into much more because then I think that would come into spoiler territory, but yes, it's kind of like a little slice of life of the grumpy old man. And then the next one in my pile is Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead. And it's also kind of like a slice of life story of an indigiqueer two-spirit young man and how his life is like off the reserve and how he has to fetishize himself and how he has to survive. There is sexual content in this book and explicit sexual content in this book, so I guess warning for that if you don't want anything too graphic, but yeah. The next one on my list is Piranesi, and this book is basically about a scientist who has to explore this house that has infinite corridors, infinite rooms, infinite hallways, everything. Like, it's a vast world and he's just documenting everything here. And he only knows of one other person in this whole entire world that is here. And you just kind of see him unravel mysteries of his world and mysteries and stuff. So this was a fun read. This is weirdly whimsical, but also at the same time very unsettling, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah. The next book on my list is My Dark Vanessa, and I feel like I've talked about this book quite a few times on my channel now. If you don't know, this is a story following a woman in two different timelines. Vanessa, our main character, and one timeline when she's 15 and one when she's 30. And when she's 15, she gets in a relationship with her 42-year-old teacher. And then the timeline when she's 30, allegations against the same teacher is coming out from other students due to the Me Too movement for rape, pedophilia, predatory behavior, etc. And trigger warning, content warning for so many. This book is heavy. It has rape, sexual assault, pedophilia, predatory behavior, grooming, substance abuse, suicide. It's a heavy book. So yeah, but it is such a good book, and it's such a good book for discussions. And this isn't a book about the abuser. This is a book about healing from trauma. I really enjoyed this book as well. The next book on my list is Song of Achilles, and this is pretty popular. It has been popular on Book Talk and stuff. And this is basically like the myth of Achilles, but make it gay and focus more on the relationship between Achilles and Patroclus. I really enjoyed this book and highly recommend it. It is great if you enjoy Greek myth retellings. So yeah. The next book on my list is Tangleroot Palace, which is a collection of short stories by Marjorie Liu, and it has themes of dark fantasy and themes of princesses, fairy tales, sci-fi, grief, death. Oh, so many themes in here, and it's a fun read. It's a very quick read. I really enjoyed this stuff. There's 7 stories and I really enjoyed 5 of the stories. 2 of them I was more meh about, but like overall I really enjoyed this anthology. And if you want to know more about each individual story that I go into more depth, I will link the card up above for more in-depth. And it's the last book I talk about in that monthly wrap-up, so yeah. And then the next book I'm going to talk about, I've talked about this so many times on my channel, and this is The House in the Cerulean Sea. This is wholesome, this is heartwarming, this is sweet, this is melt your heart types of feels. And this basically is about this magical caseworker who's sent to orphanages and assesses whether or not they're fit to run or if they have to get shut down. And one day he gets assigned to one particular orphanage, and you kind of just see his journey from there through there and continuing onwards. And I know there has been a little bit of controversy surrounding this book because apparently the author drew inspiration for our monster children from indigenous peoples, so that's not great, but the overall story here I think is very wholesome, very cute, very sweet. And then another book that I want to talk about by the same author, T.J. Klune, is Under the Whispering Door. I really enjoyed this book as well. It also made me cry, made me laugh out loud. It was fun. And it's basically about this corporate partner in a law firm who ends up dying from a heart attack and getting sent to kind of like this in-between stage between life and death. And you kind of see him learn how to live in a way and see him, you know, grow as a person. And like it has also very much those wholesome feels and those tropes that you found in The House in the Cerulean Sea, like found family, love, office workers who need more exposure to life. But this book deals more with grief and death and life and what that means to live. And yeah, so I really enjoyed this one as well. And then now I'm going to get into like notable mentions. These books I really, really enjoyed, but I don't know, there's something missing for me to not give it that like 5 stars quite yet, but I really still really enjoyed it and very much recommend it. And this is Circe by Madeline Miller, and it's also by the same author who made Song of Achilles. I really, really enjoyed this book. So this is basically a retelling of Circe. And if you don't know who Circe is, it's basically that witch who owns the island with the pigs. Like she turns men into pigs, and it's just basically a retelling of her story. And it is great. It's very feminist forward. It's very, yes, go women, I love it. And then this one, it's also very popular, and this is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Oh my god, this character feels so real. I wanted to watch her movies. I was like, I need to search her up, I need to watch her movies. But basically this is about a celebrity who is telling her life story and the story surrounding her 7 husbands and like what went through her life. So yeah, and you just basically kind of see through her life and her telling the story of her life to a journalist, and it is a fun time. It is a great time. It is also queer. I really enjoyed this one, and it's popular as well. So I feel like Book Talk has been talking about it a lot, and the book community has been talking about this book a lot for a while. And yeah, Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing though, I think is just really great. Anytime I've picked up her book, I really enjoyed her writing. So yeah. And then the next one in my like honorable mentions is The Beast Player. This is basically a story of like 2 nations that are like kind of warring, and each of these nations have 2 different kind of beasts that they use in war. And our main character can communicate with these beasts, and you kind of see her get wrapped up in the whole war, see her get wrapped up in talking to these beasts and her living her life. And I really enjoyed this character. She's a great character, and I really enjoyed this. And then I also have Halsey's poetry book. I was surprised I enjoyed this as much. There was I guess it makes sense because like she's a musician, so there's this like rhythm in a lot of her poems that she has. And this basically just has poems surrounding feminism, surrounding growing up, surrounding being a woman, surrounding queerness, surrounding exploration, surrounding rape, surrounding basically just what it's like growing up as a woman in our society. And even if she's a celebrity, like she still feels all the things that women feel in our society. And yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of her poems here, and I really enjoyed a lot of how she wrote them. I really enjoyed When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, which is about this, what is it, a nun, I think is a nun, and they are either non-binary or ace, I don't really remember. They collect stories, and they end up collecting a story from a tiger, and you kind of see the tiger's story and their history and stuff. So it was fun. I really enjoyed this book. And another notable mention is She Who Became the Sun. I really enjoyed this one as well. This is pitched as Mulan meets Song of Achilles, and I really agree with this. And it's basically about this a girl who doesn't want to be nothing. She wants to be known in the world. She wants to have the destiny of being great. And you kind of just see her become who she is and how cutthroat she has to become, and her life basically. And then another notable mention I want to talk about is Dune. I really enjoyed Dune. I don't know if I'm just like, I feel like I probably missed a lot more than the story had to offer, just because it's not one of those books where you can just like sit and let it wash through you. You have to like really think through, like while you're reading the story kind of thing. So yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It's basically about this young man who has like special powers, I guess, or abilities because of their upbringing and because of their genetics and stuff. And they have to basically end up becoming like a messiah or a prophet or something like that, and kind of see how he copes with that and what it means for him and what it means for his world and how to live. And there's a lot of like political intrigue. I really enjoyed the political intrigue in here. The pacing, I enjoyed the pacing, and I just enjoyed this book in general. I think I definitely probably would need a reread to like get everything that there was in there, but I really enjoyed it. I forgot to mention one other book, and that's Every Heart a Doorway by Sean McGuire. I really enjoyed this book, and I also, from this series, I also enjoyed the sixth one, but yeah, Every Heart a Doorway I think is on my honorable mentions. Basically, this book is about where a bunch of youths have gone through, like Alice in Wonderland style, gone through other doorways and in other worlds, and now they're back on Earth, and they're kind of dealing with the repercussions because they all want to go back to their adventurous wonderlands. And you kind of see them learn how to cope with the idea that they may never go back, or how to deal with that and with other people who've gone through similar situations. And you kind of see their journey. There's also a fun murder mystery plot thrown in there as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. And yeah, I think those are my favorite books of 2021. And yeah, I guess comment below if you have any favorite books that you've read this year. I'd love to hear them. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a good day/night. Bye.